Hello, a Better Lived Life crew. I'm Christina, a coach, combat vet, and community change agent. So today's topic comes from the fact that I am actually doing some home repairs myself, and I have people coming in to do some drywall. Last year I actually had some plumbing issues. They ripped out a lot of my ceiling. They had to tear out some of the drywall in one of the bathrooms. And I've been sitting on it for a while now, and I finally have somebody coming in to handle that. But my cat, Squishmallow, he needs to be out of the way for them to do their work. So there is a bedroom I'm going to be putting him in. But if you look here, you can see where when I had it cracked open, my cat and a neighbor cat decided to shred it and fight each other. And over here, you can see where the other cat was resting his claws while he was trying to get through over here, jumping at my cat. So we're actually going to go with a pet safe screen in the replacement. So I thought this was going to be a quick, 1 hour repair. I've done a screen before, installing a pet screen, swapping it out. And so I figured quick, easy. However, I already kind of took it apart. But this right here was the bottom portion, and it got destroyed by a previous tenant. And so unfortunately I can't reuse this screen. And what I have definitely not done before is a frame for a screen. So my 1 hour project ended up fractaling into basically a 4-hour project. So first there was the cleanup, because as I was when I saw the damage to the frame, I don't know anything about frames, so I started disassembling a little bit so I could kind of see how they worked. And I did this. The blood actually managed to run all the way down my leg and into my sock before I got to the bathroom and could clean it off. And so that added some time. And then I had to watch videos on YouTube about how to actually make a frame. It seemed simple enough. I was like, okay. So I went ahead and I gathered up all of my tools that I was going to need for this and made sure I knew where everything was. Ran to Home Depot, got myself a frame there, came home, had some quick lunch, and then went to work on this frame. There were some ups and downs. I did do all my measurements, stuff like that, and measure twice, cut once. And then even as I was working at each step, I checked my measurements, I made sure things fit. And then when I got to installing the full frame, so no screen yet, just the full frame, I realized that because of an angle, I actually needed to make it smaller than the actual measurements that were working for individual pieces. So I ended up having to cut down the frame by another 2 to 3 millimeters, just so I could get it around this little corner and get it into the place. And got that done, went ahead and did the screen, and ultimately the project was a success. New frame, new screen. Took a little while, but yeah, there we go. I could get that put in the window. Took a couple of repairs. So let's talk about what I did right and what I did wrong, and the part ADHD plays. So I did gather the tools and the pieces. Now I did, when I thought it was just the screen, I did actually leave the screen downstairs at first, so I had to go get that. But that's not a big deal, it's a single item. But when it was the frame, I did take the time to gather all of the pieces in advance, because a lot of times with ADHD, we don't know where things are. We try to create a home for things. Please, if you haven't done that yet, create a home for your things. So I did go to where my tools live, and I was pulling out all the pieces that I would need for this activity. And I got them all together, and I did that before I went to Home Depot. This way, if there was something I couldn't find, I would have the option to replace it. With ADHD, a lot of the times we struggle with starting things in a timely manner. And I am just going to say, if you plan to do a repair on your home, you have to start early. You have to start early in the day. You have to have plenty of time, because things do tend to fractal. They tend to get bigger. They tend to balloon because we didn't realize we would need this and just got to add that and then that and then that. And so we need to make sure we have the time to complete the task without feeling so stressed that we give up and walk away until we can get whatever we need. Then there's safety. Wear pants and consider gloves and shoes. And if you're dealing with something sharp or heavy, definitely wear shoes. It's a requirement. So where did I land on that one? Well, obviously, I was wearing shorts when I started the activity. It was supposed to be an extremely low risk activity, but then I started pulling metal apart, and at that point in time, I should have stopped and gotten pants on, and I did not do that, so I ended up with an injury. Now, once I realized the bigger extent of the task, and I realized I was going to need to use a hacksaw and I was going to need to do some other things before I went to Home Depot, I did change into more appropriate clothing. I put on pants, put on shoes, etc. So it's kind of a mixed bag. I didn't do so well the first part, which was supposed to be the low risk task, but then I switched to the more appropriate gear once I was working on the big task. Now, to be honest, I didn't wear shoes after I finished with the frame. I did not wear shoes while I was screening because I just had to move around a lot, and getting up and down from the bed to reach the window, I didn't wear shoes. So when I cut myself, I did stop after I patched myself up, and I went and got a glass of water. And then when I was coming back from Home Depot, I did stop and have lunch. Well, I didn't stop. When I got home, I ate something so that my blood sugar, my hydration remained good, because now it was a longer task than expected. If you didn't know, when your blood sugar gets low, when you get dehydrated, you tend to make more mistakes. You don't think as clearly, you don't think as effectively and as efficiently, and so you're more prone to accidents. So overall, I would give myself a B on this activity for planning and execution and taking my ADHD into consideration, because I did get the task complete. It did turn out decent. However, I did not complete all of the steps in advance that I should have, and the safety one is big. So that really should have been a bigger consideration. If you didn't watch my first video, I do work in construction. I might not be hands-on in the field, but I know how important safety is, and I did not do that, which with ADHD, we are often so hyper-focused on our task, we don't tend to think about things. It's just going to be a minute. I can just hop up on the counter and reach it. I can just use this chair to reach it. I don't need to get out the step stool. We tend to get going so fast. We look for the fastest solution instead of the right solution. With ADHD, let's take a step back and look at home repairs in a broader sense. So, with home repairs, you end up with two different types of tasks broadly. You have urgent tasks and non-urgent tasks. Urgent tasks are pretty easy for ADHD to compensate for, because that sense of urgency, we have a built-in deadline. We go ahead and we do what we need to do to get the task done. And we're more likely to complete it. We're more likely to take the steps. We're more likely to buy the products. We're more likely to just get it done. Whereas for non-urgent tasks, with ADHD, a lot of times they'll just linger. We're not so good without pressure to get them done. Now, some things may become urgent later, and that'll help you to step up and complete the task. But generally speaking, without something urgent to push what's going on, it's hard for us to get moving. So, for example, I told you that my ceiling had actually been open for several months after the plumbing issue. I did originally just follow up with the task. I did reach out to drywallers, but then something happened and I just kind of fell off with the task, and it's very, very hard to pick tasks back up. And I also have some baseboards downstairs that are supposed to go inside of a pantry. They have been down there for probably close to 5 years. I've not gotten around to that task because I am literally the only person that sees inside that cabinet. So it just hasn't been high priority. There's been no urgency. And what I'm going to say is, for ADHD, we basically kind of have three options for the non-urgent tasks. First is hire someone. Just freaking hire someone. You're not going to do it. Accept it. Move on. But with ADHD, I know there's a lot of us, we like to do things. We like to learn things. We like to know how things work. So there's a part of us that's like, no, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. So if you're going to take that route, You either need to make it urgent by like send out invitations to a dinner party for your place in 2 weeks, whatever it is, like 1 week after you expect to be done with this project. Have the dinner reservation, have people coming over, or invite an out of town friend to come stay with you for a weekend or something. Something that gives you that deadline and makes it urgent. Otherwise, make it urgent in a different way. Ask a friend or a family member to come over and tell them, I don't need you to do the construction with me. I don't need you to do the project with me. You're welcome to if you want, but you don't have to. What I just need is for you to be there. You can bring your computer, you can be working on something else. Just, I need your company. That's what I need. I need your company. And then you schedule that, and then that day you're going to feel more of an urgency to complete the task because now it's not just your time, it's their time. And if you have a really good friend, when they catch you going to check your phone real quick, they'll be like, excuse me, I thought you were working on that over there. And that can help keep us on task. So either hire someone, create a deadline, or invite a friend over to help keep you on task. As I mentioned, if your blood sugar or you get dehydrated, you're more likely to have accidents. So make sure you are taking breaks to do that. If you are, even if you're 2 rooms over from the kitchen, I recommend bringing a water bottle over because having access immediately will be a lot less of a barrier than I would have to stop my task. I would have to really set everything down, and then I would have to go to the kitchen to get myself some water. So instead, if your task is going to take more than 30, 40 minutes, bring a water bottle into that area with you so you're more likely to drink water as you go. And if you are the type with ADHD who tends to like work through meals, you get hyper focused and you don't eat, set alarms. Seriously, set alarms to take breaks and make sure you do that because you are of no use to anybody if your blood sugar gets too low and you start having accidents or you start making mistakes on the project that make you go back and do them again. So set alarm. Also in the realm of accidents, with ADHD, we're more accident prone to begin with. We are just more accident prone. I've heard people say it's because ADHD people are more klutzy, we don't have good body awareness, blah, blah, blah. And I'm gonna be honest, for me, that's not quite the right explanation. I have absolute awareness of where my body is at all times as long as I'm paying attention. It's usually when I'm focused on something else that all of a sudden I trip over nothing. I walk into door handles. I slam my hand against something. It's not that I'm not aware of my body when I'm paying attention. I know where my body is when I'm paying attention. I just don't know where everything is when I get focused on something else. So that's one of the reasons why safety becomes especially important. And we need to wear the pants. If we're dealing with anything particularly dangerous to our hands, we need to wear gloves. I know 2 people, who have lost eyesight in an eye because they did not wear safety glasses when dealing with an arc welder in their garage. Like, seriously, those things cost like $5. If you are working with like table saws, you're working with welding equipment, you're dealing with anything that can throw things out, wear eye protection, please. If you're going to be dealing with overhead stuff, even hard hats aren't that expensive. You can get a low quality hard hat for a project. They're just not that expensive. So just give it some thought and take the precautions. We are already more prone to accidents. Don't add risk by skipping the safety equipment. Those are my ideas for ADHD and home repairs. Set deadlines if they don't exist already by making the project urgent, by bringing someone else in, by having something else that creates a firm deadline. Take safety into consideration in all of its aspects: gear, hydration, eating. Make sure that if you're doing anything particularly dangerous, like let's say you decide to fix your roof, if you are doing roof repairs, it always takes 2 people. You need to have someone else there in case if somebody falls, please. But if you decide to just do it anyway, at least call a family member and tell them when you expect to be done so that they'll call you an hour later. And if you don't pick up, they'll send the police to your house, okay? Think safety. We already have more accidents, and when it comes to tools, those accidents can be a lot more severe. So just take your precautions. Wear pants. I know it's hot. I'm in LA. That's actually why I needed to fix this window, so I could put the air conditioner in so the cat could actually be safely in that room. But wear the pants. Y'all saw what I scratched up my leg on what was supposed to be a super easy repair that required almost no tools. Like that shouldn't have happened. And yet, ADHD, it did because the metal buckled. So just do it. Always assume there's going to be an accident. It's a lesson I've learned a few times. I only seem to remember it for like a year at a time. I got to get better at that. And for anybody that's concerned, I am up to date on my tetanus shot. Are you? If you're going to be doing any metal work around your house, take that into consideration. Or anything that involves old nails, like you're going to be ripping anything out. So I hope you take some of what we discussed and put it into the planning for your projects to help make your projects a little more ADHD proof. Good luck. Now go forth and do great things.